Tomato danger after 60, never mix tomatoes. With these 3 common foods, senior health tips, every senior has heard that tomatoes are good for your heart, rich in lycopene, packed with antioxidants, and found in nearly every healthy meal plan. Tomatoes are a staple in diets from Italy to California. But here's what almost no one tells you. After age 60, mixing tomatoes with certain everyday foods could backfire. Instead of protecting your health, these combinations may lead to joint inflammation, gastrointestinal damage, impaired nutrient absorption, and even memory decline. Why? Because tomatoes are incredibly chemically active, especially when combined with ingredients that alter their acidity, their metal absorption rate, or their interaction with digestive enzymes. Most seniors think of tomatoes as harmless, but new studies from Johns Hopkins and Harvard have revealed that certain food pairings can turn this superfood into a metabolic stressor, especially for older adults dealing with lower stomach acid, thinner gut linings, and slower detox pathways. One recent survey of 1,200 Americans over 60 found that 37% of those who reported frequent bloating, brain fog, or random fatigue were eating at least one of these dangerous tomato combinations weekly, usually without even realizing it. And in many cases, the symptoms were so subtle they got chalked up to normal aging. Today, we'll uncover the 3 most harmful mixes you must avoid if tomatoes are a regular part of your meals. Let's start with the one that shocks most people because it's considered a diet food. Number 1, tomatoes and canned tuna. Tuna with tomatoes shows up everywhere from light lunches to protein-packed pastas. It looks like the ultimate heart-healthy meal, low-fat, high omega-3 south, packed with vitamins. But if you're over 60, this mix might quietly undermine your liver, gut, and even cognitive health. Here's why. Tomatoes are one of the most acidic common vegetables, with a pH of around 4.3. Canned tuna, especially the kind in metal tins, often contains trace amounts of mercury, bisphenol, ABPA, and ethylenediaminotricrat acid EDTA, all of which are used to preserve shelf life and color. These substances are technically safe in small doses, but when mixed with high-acid foods like tomatoes, they become significantly more reactive. That means your digestive system absorbs more of these toxins than it normally would, especially if your stomach lining is thinning with age. Research from the Food and Chemical Toxicology Journal shows that acidic foods can increase mercury solubility in fish tissues by up to 39% during digestion. This doesn't just stay in your gut, it passes into the bloodstream and can accumulate in the brain, liver, and kidneys. Seniors are particularly vulnerable because their detox systems slow down after 60. This means even a healthy lunch of tuna and tomato pasta, eaten regularly, can lead to long-term toxic buildup. What does that look like? Early symptoms include joint stiffness, short-term memory issues, metallic taste in the mouth, and unexplained exhaustion. Let's not forget histamine sensitivity. Tomatoes naturally release histamines, and canned tuna is one of the highest histamine foods available. For seniors prone to inflammatory conditions like arthritis, this combo can trigger flare-ups, rashes, sinus pressure, and even heart palpitations, sometimes just 30 minutes after eating. One 67-year-old woman in North Carolina reported years of feeling foggy and swollen after lunch, only to discover her daily habit of tomato tuna salad was the trigger. Even the packaging plays a role. Many canned tuna products are lined with BPA, a known endocrine disruptor. Acidic foods like tomato sauce can cause BPA to leach out of the can lining faster, especially when heated. That means your warm tuna marinara, possibly delivering a dose of hormone-disrupting chemicals that may impact thyroid function and metabolism better. Tip: instead of canned tuna, choose fresh-cooked wild fish, like salmon or trout, and pair them with lancet vegetables like zucchini, arugula, or steamed broccoli. If you crave tomato flavor, go for roasted cherry tomatoes, or use a small amount of raw heirloom tomato, which tends to be less acidic. Avoid heating tomatoes with canned fish entirely. For joint health and mental clarity, always favor low mercury, low histamine combos. Your liver and brain will thank you. Number 2, tomatoes and cottage cheese. It's a classic light meal, a scoop of cold cottage cheese with fresh cherry tomatoes, maybe a pinch of salt and pepper. It looks clean, healthy, and refreshing. something your doctor might even recommend. But for seniors, especially those dealing with digestive issues, joint stiffness, or blood pressure fluctuations, this combination can be a silent saboteur. The problem lies in how casein, the primary protein in dairy, interacts with the natural acids and tannins in tomatoes. When consumed together, these compounds can curdle prematurely in the stomach, especially in older adults with reduced stomach acid. That curdling slows down digestion dramatically, leading to bloating, constipation, or acid reflux that can persist for hours. For someone over 60 with already slower gastric motility, this can create a cycle of chronic indigestion, abdominal heaviness, and even nutrient malabsorption. But that's just the beginning. A study published in Clinical Gastroenterology and Hepatology found that the co-consumption of acidic fruits or vegetables and dairy can reduce the absorption of key minerals, like magnesium and iron, by over 30%. That's a big deal for older adults, who often already have deficiencies due to medication or age-related absorption decline. Iron and magnesium are crucial for everything from maintaining muscle strength to supporting brain function and heart rhythm. Worse, some seniors compensate by eating more of these combinations, thinking they're healthy, when in fact they're just intensifying the absorption block. Let's also talk about inflammation. Both tomatoes and dairy, particularly processed or low-fat dairy, can be inflammatory triggers in some older adults, even if they're not technically allergic. Tomatoes contain solanine, a natural chemical that may aggravate joints in people with arthritis. Cottage cheese, especially the highly salted versions, can spike sodium levels, increasing blood pressure and water retention. Combined, they form a pro-inflammatory meal that can lead to subtle symptoms like finger swelling, facial puffiness, or morning stiffness that's often blamed on just getting older. There's also a mental health angle. Emerging studies from the Journal of Affective Disorders show that gut inflammation caused by poor food combinations like acidic produce with dairy may affect neurotransmitter function in older adults, influencing mood, sleep, and anxiety levels. In simpler terms, a bowl of cottage cheese and tomatoes might not just give you heartburn, it might also make you feel inexplicably irritable, restless, or foggy later that day. Better tip: if you enjoy cottage cheese, pair it with alkaline, fiber-rich vegetables like avocado, steamed carrots, or cucumber slices. If you want tomato flavor, opt for lightly cooked or peeled tomatoes and eat them separately, ideally 30 to 60 minutes before or after dairy. You'll reduce gastric stress, improve nutrient absorption, and prevent low-grade inflammation that often gets misdiagnosed as aging pain. For an anti-inflammatory upgrade, add a drizzle of olive oil and a few basil leaves instead of salt. Your joints and brain will thank you. Number 3, tomatoes and white bread. It's the most ordinary thing in the world: a slice of white toast, maybe with butter, and a few tomato slices on top. Or a BLT sandwich with juicy tomatoes layered between soft white bread. It's fast, tasty, and nostalgic for many seniors who grew up eating it. But when it comes to your metabolic health, blood sugar stability, and digestive function after 60, this combo is one of the worst offenders hiding in plain sight. The reason lies in a dangerous synergy between refined carbohydrates and the natural acids in tomatoes, a synergy that causes sugar spikes, gut irritation, and chronic inflammation, especially in older adults with slower glucose processing and reduced insulin sensitivity. Here's what happens. White bread is made from refined flour, stripped of its fiber and essential nutrients. When you eat it, your body rapidly converts it into glucose, which sends your blood sugar soaring. Now, when you add tomatoes, which are acidic and contain natural fructose, the acidity alters how enzymes in your stomach break down the bread. The result: faster glucose absorption, higher insulin demand, and a crash in energy and mood an hour later. A study published in Diabetes Care found that combining acidic fruits or vegetables with high glycemic index GI starches increases post-meal glucose levels by up to 21%, particularly in older adults with impaired glucose tolerance. For seniors with prediabetes, diabetes, or even just occasional fatigue, this means one tomato sandwich can sabotage your entire day's energy. And it doesn't stop at blood sugar. The gluten and yeast in white bread, when combined with tomatoes, natural histamines, and tannins, can irritate the gut lining, leading to gas, bloating, or even triggering IBS-like symptoms in sensitive individuals. Over time, regular consumption of this combo may erode the mucosal barrier that protects your intestines, leading to what researchers now call leaky gut, a condition increasingly linked to autoimmune flare-ups, skin issues, and even depression. There's also a silent cardiovascular risk. Many seniors think of tomatoes as heart-healthy, and they are, in isolation. But when paired with refined white bread, which is high in sodium and low in magnesium, the overall meal can raise blood pressure and reduce nitric oxide levels, the very opposite of what tomatoes are supposed to do. One cardiologist even described the combo as a nutritional contradiction, a heart helper mixed with a heart saboteur. Take, for example, an 82-year-old man in Florida who had eaten tomato toast every morning for decades. After experiencing unstable blood sugar and mild memory loss, his doctor suggested eliminating the bread. Within a month, his energy returned and his glucose readings stabilized. The tomatoes weren't the problem, it was what he ate them. With batter tip, instead of white bread, try whole grain sourdough, sprouted grain toast, or even a slice of roasted sweet potato as a base. These options offer more fiber, slower sugar release, and better mineral balance. Always combine tomatoes with a healthy fat like avocado or olive oil to slow digestion and support heart health. And if you want a sandwich, skip the soft, spongy bread. Go for crunchy seed crackers or lettuce wraps to preserve the benefits of tomatoes without triggering the hidden risks. Let's take a quiet moment and think back to how we used to eat. The habits we trusted, the recipes passed down without question. A slice of tomato on white toast in the morning, a tuna sandwich for lunch, a bowl of cottage cheese with diced tomato for dinner. These weren't indulgences. They were, for many of us, comfort food, simplicity, familiarity. We didn't grow up checking pH levels or scanning for histamines. We ate what was available, what was affordable, what we were told was good. And for decades, that worked. Or at least, we thought it did. But what if I told you that the very combinations we leaned on for light eating, for heart-healthy simplicity, may have been quietly wearing down our systems once we crossed a certain age? What if I told you that after 60, your digestive system doesn't respond to food the same way it once did, and that tomatoes, one of the most celebrated superfoods in the world, might become something altogether different depending on what you eat them with? This isn't about fear. It's about respecting the changes inside your body. Because aging is not a decline, it's a transition, one that comes with new needs, new sensitivities, and new responsibilities. When you were 25, you could eat anything and bounce back by morning. When you were 45, a little bloating was just a nuisance. But at 65, 70, or 82, that same bloating becomes fatigue. That same acid reflux becomes insomnia. That same fog after lunch becomes forgetfulness you can't explain. And if you've been brushing those signs aside, assuming they're just part of aging, you're not alone. Millions of seniors are doing the same, living in bodies that feel heavier, slower, more temperamental than they should, all because no one told them that food combinations matter more now than ever. We've spent decades talking about calories, fat, cholesterol, but no one explained the hidden chemistry of food. How an acidic vegetable like a tomato can pull mercury out of canned tuna, or how it can curdle dairy proteins in a sluggish stomach, or how it can spike your blood sugar sky high. When sitting on a piece of refined white bread, no one explained that your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria helping you digest and absorb nutrients, changes dramatically after 60, that your stomach acid levels drop by half, that your body's ability to detox metals slows to a crawl, that even one wrong combination repeated daily could start to feel like aging when it's actually inflammation. It's not your imagination. It's not just getting older. It's your system asking for help, quietly, patiently, but urgently. I've spoken with seniors who told me they felt like they were falling apart for no reason. One woman said her afternoon meals left her so exhausted she thought she had early dementia. Another man believed his arthritis was progressing until he removed just one pairing from his lunch and found that within days, his hands stopped swelling. These weren't random fixes. These were the results of listening, not to a trend or a diet guru, but to the body itself, because your body will always try to speak to you. It's just that the signals change. They become subtler. They hide. In routines you trust, they show up as patterns. The same heaviness at 3 p.m., the same fog after a certain breakfast, the same joint pain after your usual dinner. And if you track those patterns, they'll almost always lead you back to a plate. Let's be clear, tomatoes aren't the villain. They're still rich in antioxidants, still protective to the heart, still valuable, but they don't exist in a vacuum. What matters now is context. Tomatoes combined with olive oil and dark leafy greens, fantastic tomatoes simmered with canned tuna and processed starch. Potentially dangerous. That's the shift. Not in the tomato, but in the terrain it lands in. And that terrain, your stomach, your liver, your blood vessels, your brain, is changing every year. So the choices you make must change with it. No doctor tells you this, not because they don't care, but because it's not part of the standard conversation. They'll prescribe a pill for reflux, something for blood sugar, another one for inflammation, without ever asking what you ate for lunch. But what you ate for lunch might be the single most powerful health decision you made that day. Not because of calories or cholesterol, but because of compatibility. Some foods simply don't belong together anymore. Not at this stage, not in this body. And that's not a loss. That's wisdom. Wisdom means recognizing that what served you at 40 might harm you at 70. That your rituals need review. That your comfort food needs editing, not with judgment. With care. If you've watched this far, you're already doing more than most. You're paying attention. You're asking new questions. You're realizing that health after 60 isn't about doing more. It's about doing better, smarter, calmer, slower. It's about waking up and wondering not just what you're eating, but what it's doing once it's inside you. And if this video helped you rethink even one small habit, if it made you look at your tomato sandwich or a cottage cheese bowl a little differently, then it's already done its job. Because awareness is the first step toward energy, toward clarity, toward relief. We want to hear from you. Have you ever changed a meal combination and noticed a surprising improvement? Have you stopped eating something that used to be a staple and realized your body thanked you for it? Or maybe you're still figuring it out, still tracking the symptoms, still listening. That's fine too. Aging isn't a race. It's a conversation. Leave a comment below and share what you've learned. Because when we share, we don't just heal ourselves, we help someone else find the connection they've been missing. And if this video felt helpful, if it opened a door in your thinking, please send it to someone you care about. Someone who still eats the same lunch every day and doesn't realize why they feel sluggish by evening. Someone who deserves to know that it's not about giving things up, it's about finding better ways to keep them. Because sometimes, the smallest adjustment, like reconsidering what you pair with tomatoes, can unlock years of comfort, energy, and wellness that you thought were gone forever. Stay curious, stay compassionate with yourself, and remember, health isn't just about what's on your plate, it's about how it fits together. At this stage in life, you deserve meals that support you, not stress you. And that begins with listening, with learning, with choosing one small, wise combination at a time. And maybe that's the part no one ever told us, that aging isn't about constantly fighting for what we used to tolerate. It's about releasing the need to handle everything and finally giving ourselves permission to notice what truly feels good, to eat in a way that leaves us light, not full, energized, not sedated, clear, not cloudy. That clarity doesn't come from a new supplement or the latest trend. It comes from understanding how your body, this body today, responds to what you give it. Tomatoes aren't dangerous, but they're reactive. And your system is more sensitive now than it used to be. Not weaker, wiser. It tells you more often, with smaller signals. And the smartest thing you can do is listen sooner. Sometimes people think that changing your diet at this age is pointless, that the damage is already done, that it's too late. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Every single cell in your body is listening to what you eat today. Your gut lining can regenerate, your inflammation can go down, your energy can rise again. Maybe not to what it was at 40, but enough to feel like yourself again. And all it takes is curiosity, the willingness to ask, what if I changed just this one thing? And then paying attention to the result, there's something powerful that happens. When you stop blaming your age and start questioning your habits, it doesn't mean your aging stops. but it means your agency returns. You go from drifting to steering, from guessing to noticing. And when you start adjusting, even gently, the body responds. Always, because it wants to be well. It wants to help you. It's just been overloaded by foods it no longer wants, by routines that no longer serve, by combinations that no longer fit. And you don't have to overhaul everything. You don't need a new kitchen or a new lifestyle. You just need to begin paying attention again like you did when you were younger and learning what your body liked. That part of you is still there. It's quieter maybe, but it's never stopped observing, never stopped hoping you'd listen again. And if this video has helped you do that, even just a little, then it was worth every minute. We say this often, but it bears repeating. Healing at this age isn't about perfection. It's about connection with your body, with your food, with the signals you've been ignoring, and with others, with the people in this community who are asking the same questions and looking for the same clarity. So share your story, your thoughts, your questions, because someone out there right now is still feeling tired after their meals, still assuming it's just part of getting old, and your comment might be the thing that makes them stop and think, wait, maybe it's not just age. This is how change begins, not with force, but with attention, not with fear, but with understanding, and not with giving up what you love, but with learning how to keep it wisely. So tomorrow, if you reach for a tomato, and we hope you do, take a moment to pause. Think about what you'll combine it with. Think about what you've learned, and choose something that nourishes the version of you that exists today. Because that version, older, yes, but more aware, deserves meals that heal, not hurt, that support, not sabotage, that honor your years, not undo them. You've earned that. Every one of your decades has brought you here. You deserve to feel light. Again, and sometimes all it takes is changing one combination to change everything that comes after.